What's going on, everybody? So today going to go ahead and do an oil change. Wanted to get a video real quick on doing that for the 2023 KRT edition 400. And so you're going to need 17 millimeter socket. I've got it on a 1/2 inch ratchet with just a short extension. And what you're looking for here, it helps if you've got your bike jacked up. But what you're looking for here, you don't have to remove the fairings. Follow my finger right here. We've got 17 mil. So what you want to do is pop your oil cap. So we come around this side, gotta let it flow. Just get some, I'll take it all the way off, but just crack it so you've got some air going through. All right, it's 10W40. I believe it's 2.1 quarts, which is kind of odd, but whatever. And then for mine, it's the part number is right there. So 16097-0008 from Kawasaki. The one thing I didn't get was the crush washer. I'm gonna go ahead and reuse the one from the factory. Probably wouldn't advise that, but I'm gonna do it anyways. So, all right, I just cracked it loose. Didn't have a lot of pressure on it. There's no problem with the 1/2 inch driver. And here we go. So this is pretty much brand new oil still. I'm at about 200 miles. And so with that, it shouldn't be too bad, but just want to get that metal out of the engine. All right, well, that's going. We are going to try to get up in there and get the oil filter off. So we're almost done draining. And so, yeah, I'm gonna pick the bike back up on the jack, and then probably helps to use something like the oil filter wrench, or if you have a specific one that fits exactly for like a socket-based oil filter remover. But usually from the factory, they're on there pretty tight, so probably gonna need something like that. So here, what having to do was take the vice grips here, lock it onto the filter, and then take a rubber mallet and smack the bottom of the vice grips, and it eventually broke that filter loose. But man, that thing's on there tight. So I'm just letting it's just barely cracked loose right now. I'm letting it drain. Once that slows down a little bit, I'm gonna put the vice grips back on. I think I can get it by hand at that point. So yeah, just be aware. I mean, I tugged on it pretty hard there, so they put those on way too tight from the factory. All right, guys, I just wanted to show you real quick. There was a little bit of metal when I wiped around. I don't know if you can see, let's see in the camera right there by the end of my thumb. That's a little bit of a metal shaving that happened around, if you can see in there where it's tripping, that's where the oil filter came off. So I wiped in there pretty good. And just goes to show you got metal in the engine. To get this off, like I said there, that was a beast. That was on there way too tight. You can see what happened when I put the vice grips. It slipped a few times, they crushed it. That's one of the harder filters I've ever had to take off. And maybe it was just a limited case, but I think from the factory, they might not lubricate the seal when they put that on, and then they go monster tight on it. So anyways, right now I still leave the engine oil filter, or I'm sorry, the engine drain plug out while it's draining, so until it's completely done. That way you know you've got all the oil out of there. Make sure to wipe your surfaces real good. When you're reinstalling, what we're gonna do is obviously lubricate that seal, and some people do the inside of the threads and things like that. But I typically just do the seal, any kind of mating surface, and put everything back on in reverse order, and make sure you got the plug in, your drain plug, make sure you got the filter on, and then go ahead and fill it up. When you do have the bike filled up with oil, you want to measure it when it's on level ground with the bike upright, and make sure you're between your windows. So if you go, I've seen people put too much oil in bikes, you have performance issues. You will definitely notice that it's not running right. If you go under the bare minimum there, you're gonna get pinging issues with or not pinging, but you'll get chatter and stuff inside your engine. So just make sure you're putting the right amount of oil in it. So I'm going to go with a semi-synthetic, and I add a little bit of zinc in mine. That's what I personally do. People freak out about different types of oil and additives that you put in there. That's great. Do what works for you. 10W40 is what's recommended in the manual. I change my oil so often, so I'm at like 212 miles, that I'm just trying to get the crap out of the engine, right? So I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm pretty hard on this bike, but I've used it in other bikes and it's held up just fine. So that's what I'm going with anyways. Feel free to use synthetic, semi-synthetic. I think in the manual it says you can use both. Yeah, so we're just gonna put it back, fill it up. Got 2 quarts in, and I'm just kind of letting it settle down. So we're about right at the top marker. I'm still letting the oil drain into the bottom of the pan just to make sure I don't overfill it. But yeah, it's not too bad. Just make sure when you're putting your drain plug back in, you've got all the surfaces wiped off. I did find a little bit more metal on the actual plug itself. Not shards or anything, but just like a little bit of a gray sludge, which is indication that you've got a little bit of metal there in your oil. So some people burn a little bit of oil, meaning they leave the drain plug open and like throw half a quart down through it just to try to flush out anything else. And that would also be with your filter off, right? So it would come out of both places because you don't want to wash anything into your new filter. But I don't typically go that route, especially when there's not a lot of indication of metal in the engine. But yeah, just wipe everything down. I'm gonna start it up, let it run for maybe 5 minutes and let it cool back off, and kind of see, once I pick the bike back up right, kind of see where I'm at on the oil level, see if I need to add a little bit or not.